Oh, yeah, now I can see 3 of us. Yeah.
I can't see 3. Oh, she must be loading up for me.
Yeah, waving.
Are you there, Christine?
Shit.
Can you see her?
Yeah, I can see her. So in my thing, I've got 3 rectangles at the top now. I can't hear her though.
Loading. I've only got me up in the corner and then you.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, I didn't.
Video, Christine. Christine is
what about you?
Unmute. She must have hers on mute because I can't. No. Are you there, Christine?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, there you are. Oh, I lost Amanda. Hello, beautiful lady.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, good.
You go, Amanda.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Oh, you're flicking back and forth. Okay, so how many people can you see?
I can see both of you, but when someone's speaking, I think it flicks to them. Is that what happened? Yep.
I
think so too.
Have you done this much before, Christine?
Not at all. First time.
Us too. So, Christine, that is Amanda talks, so you flip on.
Okay.
Hi.
Where'd you go? So that's Amanda, wherever she's gone.
I'm here. Yeah.
There you are. So Christine is Christian's wife at the gym.
Yep. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Amanda.
It's just the 3 of us, Christine. We've just been talking a bit about food and
yeah, that's good.
So how was your day? Was your drive okay?
Yeah, it was okay. I just got home from work, that's why I'm a bit late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Had you been waiting long? Got your old 3. Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, that was very quick, yeah.
Oh, good.
A minute or something. Yeah, not even. Yeah, all good.
Good. Oh, that's good.
This is great.
Yeah, it's
I can't believe this. I can't believe we can have like a 3-way conversation with a camera.
I know.
Wow, technology.
Cool. Now, did we end up answering what that question you were asking, Amanda?
Yes, the Herbert.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we were showing. Have you seen this one, Christine?
I've seen it before, yes, but I never had it. No, I never used it.
So I was just saying to Amanda, that's something that I use. That's really the only, I don't know, apart from, like spices, that's it.
Yeah.
Fried rice, soup, everything. So
yeah,
okay.
that's how much you put that in fried rice. That's what.
So that's rather than, and that's it. And then just soy sauce.
Yeah. Okay.
And then whatever veggies I put. I think the trick to making fried rice is if you cook it separately. So fry the rice, then take that out, and then fry the veggies.
Okay, and then put the rice.
And then mix it all in together. Because at first I used to do it all together and it would sometimes be clumpy.
Yeah, and I find like it's not as fluffy as fried rice should be. It goes a bit soggier, I find, as well, because you've cooked it a bit more. Yeah,
and with fried rice, depending on, so the best way I found to cook fried rice is I cook the rice and then you let it sit for anywhere up. I mean, it can sit for up to 5 days. But if the more it dries out, the crispier the fried rice will be. Whereas if you just cook it and you've got fresh rice, it's full of water still.
Yeah. Actually, I've done that in a recipe just recently where it said to leave it to sit for a good 15 minutes, and it changes it. So it was, when I put it in, I made a biryani, and it went like how it's meant to be. So so I just, and with rice, and I do think that there's enough literature behind it.
with rice, if you can soak it, it gets rid of a lot of the arsenic that's in the rice. So arsenic's just naturally occurring in the rice. It's just always been there. But if you soak it for 15 minutes, I think it lowers it by about 20%. But when I can, I don't stress a lot about it. I wash it first, give it a really good, maybe 3 washes, and then I will soak it overnight. So I'll go, okay, I'll have rice tomorrow. So I just put it in the pot already in the cooker and then just soak it and then change that water. And that gets rid of like about 80 to 90% of the arsenic.
Wow.
So it's a huge amount. And that's the same with most grains. If you soak them, it's same with lentils. If you soak them, and you probably know, because do you cook a bit of lentils? Do you, Christine? Do you cook?
Yeah. I cook a bit of lentils and everything. Yeah. And I spoke to a chef once because I'm working in the food industry, and they were cooking a lot with lentils and legumes, and he said you cannot wash it enough. So they actually wash it for 3 days before they use it, and they soak it for so long.
Wow.
And he said wash it again, and when you think you washed it, you wash it again because there's so much that comes off.
Oh my God.
Really good practice. Yeah.
I know that you should give it a rinse, but I've never heard of washing and washing.
Yeah, well, I always try to soak it for a minimum of overnight. And then I first rinse it, and when I rinse it, I get in and I actually like massage it as the water's running, and then drain it. And I do that probably at least 4 times and then soak it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really, and it also just helps in the digestibility of the legumes as well.
Yeah.
Beans, legumes, rice, everything.
Yes. Yeah. I haven't done it with the rice though. This is a really good tip to do it with the rice.
I think, and it just means I would imagine that you're probably pretty organised as well, Christine. So you just be onto it. And again, you could soak the rice for days. So if I sometimes soak something and I haven't got the time to cook it, just chuck it in the fridge and leave it for the next day.
Right.
Yep.
So
that's so handy. That's a great tip. That's a great tip.
And also because have you got a dog, Amanda?
Yeah.
So with my lentil, with the water, we feed it to the dogs. Because it's full of protein. So there's so you can just, because I cook our dog food. Our dogs are vegan, so I don't say that very often because then they go, they're carnivores. And, oh, God.
My dog actually doesn't eat meat either. So.
Yeah, good. There you go.
So, my dog is actually a vegetarian, vegan kind of dog. Yeah. I didn't realise that, but
Yeah, so ours, they just eat lentils and beans. So.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. There we go.
Have you got any questions, Christine? Is there anything that you're needing to know, or?
Well, I'm struggling a bit with how I actually should get started with the whole 60 days around the plate. Like, do you recommend getting a certain amount of ingredients so I have them at home and eliminate buying, the other stuff that's not good for us in general? And I haven't really stocked up in those things really. So I'm a bit, basically a bit struggling with how I get started to, make all those recipes you have online as well and everything. So
cool. On the website, there's a shopping. On the website, there's a shopping list. If have a look on there. But really, you want to look. I would suggest. So if I have a think about what's in my pantry, I've got oats, lentils. So I've got the different sorts of lentils. I personally prefer putty lentils, or what are called French lentils. So they're more like little pellets, and they hold their shape. So with other putty lentils.
Are they black?
They're like dark green. They're quite a dark colour.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know how. I actually don't think they sell them in Woolies.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But that's the Cooler Sisters. I was just mentioning, Christine, there's a place called Cooler Sisters, and they do bulk stuff, but we get our stuff through Two Brothers. So you can get that. That's on the website as well, where you can just get it there. So I mean, you really lentils. When I first started, because I didn't know how to cook like it, because I just swapped overnight, I predominantly use canned beans and lentils. So and I've still got in my cupboard now. I've got those. So just in case, I don't know, it's a crappy day or whatever, then I just pull out those. I just use a can. The only thing I'd suggest with the cans is get the low sodium and wash them before you eat them. So tip it out and give them a good rinse and mix them through. So rice or grains so you might, like in my cupboard at the moment, I've got brown rice, white rice, sushi rice. I was just saying to Amanda, sometimes we basically eat the same thing, but I just change it up. So like one night we might have pumpkin, and I'll just get butternut pumpkins and I just half them and I roast them. I normally roast a big lot of them and just put them in the fridge, and then I pull out like a half a roasted butternut or even just normal pumpkin, and then I'll fill the whole with something like with beans or tofu, or or you could put nuts in there, and then have a side serving of vegetables and or salad. And then the next night you might have the same sort of bean flavour, but you might have it on mashed potato or mashed potato. Some really good things that my kids always liked, Amanda, was mashed up you can mash up parsnips, carrots with potatoes, with sweet potatoes. So it really jazzes up just your normal mashed potato.
Yeah, adding a bit more flavour.
Yeah, and especially parsnips and carrots really sweeten it up. Kids really tend to like carrots in their mash.
My kids love carrots. So
and the carrots you've got to cook the carrots for almost as long as you cook the potatoes, because they take quite a while.
So you just boil it together.
Yeah, just boil it up.
Yeah, boil it together, make it a mashed potato, but you've got the carrot and the parsnip.
Yeah.
I might try the carrot first just to change it up, but
yeah,
that's a terrific idea.
And parsnips, they won't taste it. They won't. I've never actually eaten parsnips, so they won't. Unless you load it up, they won't pick it. Yeah. So like I build, and if I'm at any point saying and it's not helpful, just stop me and I'll change. So how I build our meals is we base. How do I do? So like 1 week, I might cook up a whole heap of roasted vegetables, and then I have them in big glass containers in the fridge, and then I pull them out, and we might have them just maybe as like a pile of roasted vegetables, and we might have rice with it, or we'll have some form of lentil or bean or tofu, and then the next night I'll still use the roasted vegetables, but I'll slice them up thinly and stir them through either salad or vegetables. So it's the same food, but it's just swapped up. And so if we're having because Amanda was over today, Christine, and I've got like a freezer that's full of pre-cooked meals. Yeah. Amanda was like, oh my God. So, and I've just So I rotate, and I'll make up like two big crock pots of a different curry. And then I will put like some of it in the freezer. So say at the moment, I reckon in the freezer, I've probably got 5 different curries. And I just use a little bit of masking tape, and I put it on the top of the container, and I write on it what it is, so I know what flavours they are. And then most of the time I'm only actually preparing the vegetables, and then Mary Jane's just going to turn the thingy on, blender on. Turn it up faster. And then, is it really loud for you guys?
Nah, you can hear it, but it's not.
It's all good.
What is she making?
A smoothie.
Oh, nice.
It's but a guy that's helping Towers with like some business stuff. He said to me, make sure that when you're doing your webcam that there's no interruption and there's no noises. And I sat there with my mouth closed going, you're kidding me, right?
It's not living.
That's real life. That's real.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
real.
That's not.
You know?
It's just a part of living, right? Yeah.
So yeah, really maybe Christine, have a think about cooking up a few different meals over the next couple of weeks and freezing them and then rotating them so you don't have to cook that meal every night.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I think that's the way to go. Definitely.
Especially when and like we were talking about, fried rice freezes really well. And to add protein to my fried rice, I'll use edamame beans. And they freeze as well. You've got to cook edamame beans. Even if it says cooked on the packet, still cook them. And they've got to be cooked for a good 5 minutes, boiling for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Summer, where did I put that note? When you're taking meat out of your diet, there's a couple of things that you really need to be aware of. Is when you take meat out of your diet, you're taking protein out of your diet. So you've got to make sure you replace that, and that's just beans and lentils. You can use tofu, things like that. Of course, there's protein in everything, but especially I think, and you too, Amanda, when you're feeding men that are coming from having heavy meat diets, it really can be hard for people to just eat salad.
Yeah.
Whereas, like for me, like I've been eating like this now for about just over 2 years, I think. And I very rarely, I predominantly just have plants. I don't eat a lot of lentils anymore. I used to, but I don't. The longer I've been on it, and this is apparently it's pretty normal, the longer you're on it, but making sure that it's full of nutrients, the less food you end up needing. So and there's no way I would have got away with the amount of food that I eat now. Like sometimes I eat once a day.
Yeah, I've heard you say that, and I'm like, wow, and you look like that. It's incredible.
It really doesn't. So it's really like and so that's how, Christine, I judge my food. I look at my plate, and that's how I measure my food. So I measure my food. I have a full plate, and then this is 95% of the time, and then I have no more. So I just fill my plate and it's full. I fill my plate and then that's my meal. And when I'm judging it, I go, there's like maybe a quarter of it is a protein source and the rest of it is plants.
Yeah.
And that's how I measure. Does that make sense? And that's how I measure it then. And that protein source can be beans, lentils, tofu, edamame beans, broad beans. I've been really getting into broad beans. And I mean, this brings your budget way down, from buying meat and all of this stuff. Like the protein in broad beans, like 100 grams of broad beans has got almost the same amount of protein as chicken and beef.
Yeah.
But we just can't wrap our heads around that. We go like, broad beans are the big fat ones.
Yeah.
Just in your freezer. I just buy them in the freezer section in Woolies. They're up the top near the edamame beans.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I know the ones. They're massive.
Yeah.
The ones? But yeah, Oh, I've seen those.
Yeah,
I
and
haven't tried them either.
yeah,
I haven't tried them, but I've seen them. Yep.
I
Okay.
mean, I will just I very rarely do I snack apart from when I'm getting food ready. I eat my veggies. But I will sometimes, if I need a meal out, I will just take like a container of broad beans. They're really delicious.
Mm.
They're really nice.
Boil them.
I tend to microwave them. You boil them, microwave them.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
So, yeah, and that's a good one for Christian.
Yeah.
For Fab as well.
Yeah, because he still feels like his portion size, he should be having more because he's not eating meat. That's what he's struggling.
And that's they reckon that people that were really, and tends to be more men than women, I suppose, because women have tended to, we eat more salad generally than what we do anyway. So, and Powers does like to have a big meal, so I make it up with things like pumpkin, or any root vegetable, rices, barley, and when I'm using barley, because barley's more expensive than rice or brown rice, so I will have 1 cup of barley to maybe 3 cups of brown rice, and that gives the brown rice the barley flavour.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so I just change it up like that. And Amanda, when I was moving my kids, we eat white rice now because I can't. It doesn't make sense to me that white rice is bad, because Asians before they're the leanest people in the world before the Western world. They eat white rice. It's all the other crap we eat with the white rice that makes us fat.
I agree.
Agree. Yeah.
The same with pastas, Amanda. Like, pastas have been made bad, but really it's what you eat with the pasta. I mean, you don't want to eat pasta 2 times a day or anything, of course.
No. Okay.
And some of the staples, Christine, that we use in our house, that lentil loaf, that's a staple in my place.
Yeah, yes.
And there is a video on that, but like Amanda and I cooked bread today here at home, so I'm even happy to get together and do a lentil loaf. Because
that would be awesome. Yeah.
Because Amanda did the bread today, and from what I remember her saying, and she can say too, it was really good, because I just went, that made such a difference. Like, Amanda just got it. It seemed like you just got it, rather than I fumbled through for about 8 months until I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great doing it with you, but it seemed, like I said to you, I could have done that with my eyes closed. I'm not sure why, but having someone there with you, you don't doubt yourself, and you can throw questions back and forth. Does this look right? Or it was really beneficial to do it with someone. So that I think we said before, the lentil loaf. That would be a good one to do together as well. That lentil loaf.
And I find the lentil loaf, like if you just work, like Amanda and I talked about it today, I'll use like the base recipe, and then I just change it up. So with that lentil loaf, the spices are pretty consistent in that, and then I change it up with the different vegetables in it. So, and I make up, I've got a wide oven, Christine, and I went and brought, that's what you've got to source too, Amanda, those big trays. I've got 4 big commercial cooking trays. Just on Gumtree, they were like $10 each. So I sourced them on Gumtree, and I make up a big one, and then I chop it all up once it's cooled down, and I pre-wrap it. And then I also, like in the freezer, I've got some containers, and it's got the lentil loaf in there that I've added more vegetables to it. So that'll be good for the kids, Amanda. I've added more vegetables to it, and then that's my sausage roll or pie mix.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got pastry just up in the freezer, like just the the pastry stuff, and then I will just pull that out, and it's and Powers loves them, and then it only takes 10 minutes to wrap them in pastry, chuck them in the oven. The kids love them cold for lunches. Powers takes it cold for lunch. And that lentil loaf, I turn that into patties, or then I turn it into meatballs, and then I turn it into a loaf. And then we make burgers with that. So I make burgers with it. So that one meal turns into, 5 or 6 different meals.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And it seems really like the ingredients. I thought that is so nutritious. It's everything in there, everything.
Yeah, you get your flax seeds, your walnuts. It's great.
Yeah,
so,
it's good. Yeah.
So where did we get with you? I reckon, Christine, for you, make sure you've got, because pumpkins last, I mean, you may know this, I didn't know this, but pumpkins apparently last for like 10 months.
Yes.
I didn't know that, but pumpkins and, so you can just leave them in a sort of darkish place. So have that on stock. So worst case is, I suppose, you walk in, you slice a butternut pumpkin, chuck it in the microwave, and then maybe if you've got time, grill it, or you could even pan fry it. Tofu is a really good one. So like I start my week, and on Sunday I normally chop up, I've got, you saw them, Amanda, 2 big metal containers, and I fill those with chopped veggies.
Oh, okay.
And then
I wondered, that was another question, sorry, just to cut you off. I wondered how much, should we prepare and chop in a day? And now that you've said those metal trays, you do 2 of those with veggies, and then
then I put them into glass containers. And then they're in the fridge. So like yesterday was a shit of a day. I think I was, and so I was so grateful for the preparedness, because I walked in the door, already had the tofu cooked from the last night. My salad was already in a bowl, so all I needed to do was slice the tofu, put it on my salad, had the edamame beans already there, and then I put my dressing on. So I've got some really good dressing recipes too. Put my dressing on, stir it up.
I saw one of those.
Yeah.
Put a bit of rice in, done. And so I reckon I'd cook a max of 3 times a week, maximum.
Oh, wow. That is good.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, and I'm meaning cooking as in frying onions and preparing.
So you do all your cooking on Sunday? Would that,
mostly, I do.
A day, or
beg your pardon?
Do you dedicate a day?
If I dedicate a day, it's generally not a Sunday. Well, I mean, I can cook. I don't mind. I'll cook anytime because I like cooking. But I like to cook when no one else is around, because then I listen to lectures or sermons or whatever. Yeah. So
I think that's what I'm struggling with. What I need to change is when because I think I'm used to a working week, that you only had Sunday to do that stuff, where I need to find time during my week. Maybe it's leaving work a little earlier and getting home and doing some of the cooking, so it's not, I don't feel like it's so much on a Sunday. That's what I need to find the balance.
And to do. Maybe too is notice, and I think we all do it in a way, and I had a client just on Wednesday, and I wrote it down, and she said something, and she said, I only get a chance to shop once a week, and if I miss that chance, then I don't shop. And I thought, wow, that probably the most important thing. And even as you're talking, like Amanda is trying to find that time, yet I've heard you say, and completely believe you, like that is that not one of the most important jobs that you need to do?
Yeah.
So really, it should be, and I'm not saying it's easy to find that, because it is hard, but if it's up on the top of your priorities and being prepared, if I wasn't prepared, I wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Wouldn't work.
Yeah.
I've got to
I'm excited to get to that level of that.
Yeah. Like, I mean, and some people, when they see, like Christine, I reckon probably, just so you can get your head around it, I probably reckon there was 120 meals in my freezer.
Wow.
I was so envious. I was like, that's where I want to be. I took a photo, because I'm actually going to print that photo out just quietly, Christy. I'm going to print that photo out and put it on the outside of my fridge, and one day I'll open my fridge and it'll actually look like that.
Yeah, and I just would say don't think you have to get it done all in one go. And that's why as you start, so Christine, maybe the next meal, or when you've got the space, the next meal you make double, freeze half.
Yes.
And then make a different flavour, freeze half. And then slowly, and then I just rotate it through rotate, and that just makes it. Soup, I've got 3 different flavours of soup in there.
Yeah.
So that again, that's a fall to recipe, soup and toast. So we'll have to probably do that bread recipe for you, Christine, because it's almost unbelievably easy.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's easier. I reckon it's easier than putting in a bread baker.
Yeah, that was really easy to make a loaf of bread, which seems really like, no, I'll leave that to the experts.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Really. Yeah. So I'll organise that, Christine, and we can do it again. So
that would be great. Yeah.
And then even if you want, Amanda, depending on what you're at, we can go through it again.
Yeah.
We can do it
well,
again.
My 5-year-old daughter, Christine's just come out and she just, Mum, can I have another piece of bread before bed?
Oh.
She'll sleep well. Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm so pleased. So pleased I've got to make that.
Yeah. Looking forward to.
How you
Christy, with your like you freeze so many meals, what containers do you use? Do you use that the single containers, or what containers do you put it in?
To freeze them, I still use the plastic Asian ones.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, in my perfect world, I'd use glass ones. But it's not even so much the expense, because I would just buy a couple each week and I'd build it up. But it's the storing the glass ones that I struggle with, because they take. You can't just stack them on top of one another; they break. Yeah. So I still use the Chinese ones because that's just where I'm at. But when I'm storing it in the fridge, I'm predominantly using the glass ones. So I've got a couple of big glass, like rectangular ones, and that's what I'll store my roasted veggies or my salad all chopped up in. So even that chopping salad and vegetables, I reckon I chop it at most again like 3 times. I reckon 2 times a week. And so if I eat lunch on a day, I just walk in, grab the salad, and if I have rocket, I keep that separate. Then I put that on the bottom, put it in, put my dressing on, stir it around.
Yeah.
You chop everything. Do you buy like the packets of spinach and rocket, and you take it out and you put it in your glass containers, and it lasts longer that way?
I've found that if you can buy rocket or I don't use a lot of rocket or baby spinach. One, because it's expensive. Rocket, I think nutritionally rocket is better than baby spinach. But I use things like red cabbage. I use the different coloured cabbages. Okay. So I swap up, and also to make it look different, which is really, I find the key, is sometimes I'm laughing because it's so simple, but it makes a difference. So sometimes I'll chop my veggies really, really little, like really skinny, and make it like a skinny, or sometimes I'll grate it and it makes it, or sometimes I'll chop them really chunky. Or I'll even serve them like a blob of cauliflower, a blob of broccoli, some mashed potato, like sort of the old-fashioned way that I used to get it, peas, corn, blah, blah, blah. So over the week we're eating the same veggies, but I just swap it. It looks different. Or I serve it in a bowl, or I serve it or I serve it in a bigger bowl. So, and they just think it's something different. What else were you asking? Some weeks I will cook veggies. So some weeks we tend to have more cooked vegetables, and then I tend to cook mine. Sometimes I will just steam them, or I fry them, in a wok fry them. I've got pre-made sauce that I use. So it might be garlic or chili or onion, lemongrass, chili with a bit of fish sauce. I still use fish sauce. I also use oyster sauce as well. I don't use a lot of it, but I still use it for the flavour. Good night, baby. What else? But yeah, I mean, I have curries, the lentil loaf, beans with that's mainly in the curry, tofu. That's really what I'm eating mostly. And myself personally, I mostly eat just beans, so green, just your plain old-fashioned green beans, edamame beans, broad beans, also just peas. You know, even your runner beans. Like I had runner beans tonight, so I just had runner beans. They're full of protein, full of it.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah. So I found, and if anything, I do. I've got way more energy than what I had before. Way more. And I eat way less food.
Yeah. It shows, yeah. It's so good.
Oh, and I didn't look, I've never been this lean, this easily, and it's almost effortless.
Yeah.
Almost effortless. And I pretty much eat what I want. Some of the things that I find, it's not on the website yet, some of the things that I find that keep me safe, I use the word safe, is defining what your food rules are. Because we've all got food rules. Yeah. I don't eat Brussels sprouts, or I only eat, you know, we've all got them. And as soon as I say that, people go, oh, food rules, I don't want real rules. I'm like, well, you've got rules already. So so some of the rules that do really work for me is I only eat when I'm sitting down at a table. So I make sure so that stops me from picking. I used to eat when I was driving because I was so busy. Yeah. So I'd eat mindlessly driving or mindlessly walking around or sitting on the computer. And I'm not saying I never do it, but predominantly when I sit and I eat. And it really makes a difference to how I feel when I eat my food as well at the same time. Oh, you're still there? We still got yous? Maybe dropped out. You there, girls?